So she had me hemmed up on the wall, like this, my feet dangling and everything. I could barely breathe. She's like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And I'm like, look, put me down. And she's like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Just think about me, make me mad all over again. Anyway, long story short, my mama had me hemmed up on the wall, and I had to figure out, yo, is this gonna be the moment that I fight my mama? Am I gonna fight my mama in this moment? Man, we gonna get into all of that. What's up, y'all? I'm Defensive Designer. You just logged on to Blue Shrimp Moscato Podcast. We are in episode 9, and I am so excited about it because we have come a very long way from episode 1. Thank you all for rocking with me, and thank you to the new people for logging on. Make sure you circle back and get all caught up on where we are right now. So anyway, I just need to say thank you to everybody that has been supporting me lately with my website, www.defensivedesigner.com. I really appreciate it. And I have to show y'all the Blue Shrimp Moscato shirt. We working on some designs right now, and so far I'm loving this one. So I'll keep you updated because the shirts will eventually go on sale, and I will let y'all know. I probably will just ask you guys which shirt that you like. So I'll take a couple pictures in this, and take a couple pictures in the other ones, and you let me know which one that y'all rock it with. Anyway, I want to go ahead and get into the story for today because this one is a doozy. And let me just preface this by saying that I did reach out to my mother, and I told her, like, look, I'm going to tell this story. Are you okay with it? And she said yes. And then my dad, he chimes in, and he's like, don't have your mom out here looking crazy, and you make sure that you tell the whole story. So I would never have my mother out here looking crazy, but he'll ride or die for my mom. He gonna ride or die for her. So he gonna make sure that I tell this story the way that it's supposed to be told. So there you have it. Anyway, that's Black love. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into it. So at this time in my life, I was in high school, and I was running track and field. That was like everything to me. Like I really was serious about my academics. Don't get that twisted. I was a student first, and then I was an athlete. But I knew, and my mother told me, and my father told me all the time, that this track and field is going to get you into college, and you need to take it seriously. So I did take it seriously. I worked out. I trained on and off the track. So if I was not training with the team, I was training by myself. That's how seriously I took this thing. I was doing invitational meets. I was in USA track and field. I was so engulfed into track. It just was my everything. So spring break was coming up, and right before spring break, I had a car, and I did something. I tried before I did this video, and I was just like, I cannot remember what I did wrong, but I had did so many things wrong. I was just kind of like in that rebellious stage. I was about 15, 16 years old. I had my car, I had all this stuff, but I thought I was grown. Like at this point, I'm thinking that now you need to start looking at me as a grown woman. Everybody, not just my parents, everybody. So I did something, and it was right before spring break, and I got my driving privileges taken away from me. They took my keys, they took my car. And it was in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's right before spring break. I don't have to really go to school like that. I'm okay. So we had a practice before spring break, track practice. And my coach tells us that, hey, we're going to have practices throughout the spring break. You're going to have to attend them. And if you don't come at least to one of them, then you're going to not be eligible to run in the next meet that we have coming back. You're not going to be able to run. And that was just a rule he had. He was like, look, I don't care. You got to go out of town. I don't care. We got practice. You need to show up. I was like, cool, whatever. I'll be there. You know, I'm not going out of town. So when I get home, I'm not really I'm not really pressed to tell my parents like, yo, I have track practice and it's going to be at this time and I'm going to need somebody to take me. I was not, they had supported my track and field so much that I just assumed that I would just be able to tell them that, hey, track practice is tomorrow. Which one of y'all are taking me? Because I don't have my keys. I can't drive myself. So the day comes, and I want to say it was like Tuesday. We had it Tuesday and Thursday of that week. And Tuesday comes, and I go to, Monday night before the day of the practice, I go to my mom and I'm like, Mother, I have track practice tomorrow at I don't remember the time, but we'll just say, I know it was in the morning, so like 11 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And I need a ride. I need somebody that's going to take me. My mom was looking at me like, what time? And I'm like, 10 a.m. And she's like, no, I'll be at work and your dad has to work and you're just not going to be able to go. So I'm telling her, like, I have to go because one, at this time I was the captain. And then two, if I don't go, I can't run in the meet once we get back. So I'm going to need you to make a way for me to be able to go. So she was like, Dewana, bye, get out my room. You don't have a car, that means you don't have a way. We bought you a car so you can take yourself. So if you don't have a car, then you don't have a way. So I'm like, this is weird. Okay. I think she's bluffing. So I'm thinking that she's bluffing because I'm just like, for the life of me, I don't understand why she would be doing like this. She should call into work and tell them that she's gonna need to come in. Like at this time, like if this was not far-fetched, my mom was like the woman, like she was a leader in executive leadership position. So she could tell them that, hey, I'm gonna need to come in a little late. Anyway, so I'm like, I can't believe this. I was like low-key side-eyeing my dad too. He ran his own business. He had his own business. He made his own hours. And I was just like, I don't understand why neither one of y'all can make a way to get me up to the school. Mind you, I lived about 45 minutes away from the school because I was in a magnet program and I was able to not be zoned for the school and still go. So the time comes and I'm so like thinking that she's bluffing, that I see her getting ready for work and I'm like, oh, she's just gonna come back, or one of them are gonna come back. They're gonna eventually come up to my room and tell me, hey, make sure you're ready at such and such time so we can get you there on time. Or I'm thinking that my dad is gonna be like, hey, get dressed so you can be with me and then I can just drop you off while I'm already out. He didn't say nothing like that. She didn't say nothing like that. So I'm like going ahead and kind of getting my things together. And I go downstairs and I'm like, so, how are we going to do this today? Like, what do I need to do? What time do I need to be ready? And my mom was like, oh, you got a ride? And I'm like, no, I didn't get a ride. One of you guys are going to take me. And so she's like, no, I have to work and your dad has to work and you're just not going to be able to go. And I told her again, I reiterated, like, yo, if I do not go, I cannot run in the meet. My next practice is on Thursday. Please make a way in your schedule to be able to take me. So she's looking at me like, girl, bye, boo, bye. So, okay. So I'm like pissed at this point, but not that pissed because he said I had to make at least one of the practices. So I call him and I'm like, Coach, I cannot get a ride. I'm going to practice at home and I am going to make sure that I'm on point for the practice on Thursday. I'll practice all week long. So he's like, okay, cool. So Thursday comes and I'm looking at them like, all right, we're in the same situation. Which one of y'all are taking me up there? Like, now it's serious, because this is the day to make a break if I be able to compete in this meet. Now, let me tell you, this meet was very important. It was a district meet. It was like a prelude to our districts. The districts that will help you to qualify to go to regionals, and then you go to regionals and you go to state. So everybody was there, only be able to submit one name per event, because that's how big the meet was going to be. So there was no way that I wanted to miss this or miss my opportunity to flex on these girls that, I'm the absolute best. Thursday comes, y'all. They playing me the same way. They played me the same exact way. They looked at me and was like, we're not taking you. We have to go to work. And I'm looking like, oh no. y'all, this is gone too far. Give me my keys, give me something. I will take myself. You can have these keys back. You can add a day on or whatever, but I am not missing this practice. Which one of y'all are taking me? Stop playing with me. Neither one of them stepped up to the plate. Both of them looked at me and was like, you gonna learn to respect us. So whatever I did, I cannot even remember, but it was disrespectful, and they took my keys for it, and they was making me feel it. I was feeling it, and I was not happy about it. Feeling it so much that I was in my feelings. So now I have missed Thursday practice. I call my coach. I try to explain to him what's going on. He said, hey, I cannot show you special preference. Kids came to these practices. If you did not make it, that means you cannot run in the meet. I have to stick to that. So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I can't even walk, okay? It's a 45-minute drive from my house. Imagine what the walk would be. So I couldn't walk. There was really no one that I could call, because all my mentors and my friends, they did not live close to me. And so it would have been out the way to come out, get me, and take me there. The boyfriend that I had at the time, he was in college, so there was no calling him. But I was just devastated, because I knew what this meant. I knew that I was going to miss the opportunity to run in this meet, which was a pretty big meet. And I was just like, I thought it was the end of the world for me. And crying majority of the day, and just really in a funk. And then by the end of the day, my sadness had turned into anger, really bad anger. And I was so upset that if anybody tried to talk to me, I was just like snapping, okay? I was snapping at them, and I was just like, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Okay, now spring break is over. I have an opportunity to cool down. Nobody is really messing with me. Everybody knows that, track is sensitive for me, and to have missed these practices was a big deal for me, not anybody else, but for me, it was a big deal. And they just kind of left me alone for the remainder of the weekend. Mind you, I was able to make all my other practices, which was like choir rehearsal and dance rehearsal and all that other stuff I had to do for the church. But my track and field, I was not able to get there. Anyway, that's another story for another day. Okay, so the meet comes. The meet is not that Monday that we return to school. It's actually that Tuesday. We had like a little practice on Monday. I was like really trying to convince my coach, like, please let me run. He's like, no, I've already submitted. I've already faxed over. At the time, there was no email that was faxing. So he said, I already faxed over who was going to be running this morning, which was that Monday. And that's that. And I said, well, please at least put me on the relays. So he's like, well, I think I can do that. I think I can put you on the relays, but you're not going to run, your event. My event was the open 400, okay? The 400 meters. So I was really hurt because I was like, man, they're gonna get out here and they're gonna think they're good, and I'm not in the race, and they're gonna have this false sense of accomplishment because they weren't able to beat the best. You know, I was not arrogant. I actually was very humble, but this is, you know, in my thinking. Anyway, so the day of the race comes, and in my mind, I'm thinking, my coach is going to change his mind. He did not put me on this race. He's just saying this. He knows I worked out. He knows I work hard. He knows my work ethic. He was just saying that because he had to say that in front of the other kids. So I understand. But come day race time, I already know that I'm going to be in this race. So I'm looking at the heat sheets. I'm looking at, you know, the lineups and everything. And the 400 is there. And I'm like, I don't see my name up here. Like, my name is literally not on this list. And I'm like, where am I? So I run the 4x8, and the girl's name that was on the list, she was a younger girl. She was like a lower classman. I want to say she was like a freshman or a sophomore. And I had went to her and I said, hey, can I run in your place? And she's like, no, my family is here. They're really excited about seeing me run. And I was like, girl, you ain't, I didn't say this, but I was looking at her like, girl, you ain't got 0 chance to win this race. Like, let me do it where I actually have a chance. She told me no. Her family was here. Her papa came in. All her people was here, and she was going to run this 400, and she did not care. She showed up for practice. That was that. And she let me know that in a nice way. But I was like, okay. So the 400 came. My rival ended up winning, and I was really upset about it because I knew she wasn't going to win that race if I had ran it, but I was not in it. So whatever. The 4x4 came. We won the 4x4. We won the 4x8. We won the meet, really. And we got second place. And we got second place. We lost by 10 points. The same 10 points that I would have gotten if I had ran. So we lost to, Escambia High School. I ran for Pensacola High School, and Escambia High School was one of our main rivals. Escambia and I want to say Woodham High School. So anyway, look, we are in I'm like just trying to forget the day it even happened. I missed my race. This is I'm all kind of messed up about it. So now it's the next day. The next day you always get on the announcements. They announce who won the race. Congratulations to these people for their first place finishes, blase. They read my name off. I'm like, okay, well, you know, this is all over. I still get my name read off. I'm still good. I'm just going to move on with my life. I hate that this even happened, but whatever. Get to practice. My coach has a newspaper. He's passing around the newspaper. The newspaper usually lists your name and your time for your races. And I was just gonna let it go, but I wanted to see what official time they had for the 4x8 and for the 4x4. I go to open the paper, and here is my rival's name and picture, really big, and it says Player of the Week. Guys, I have been trying to be Player of the Week for years, okay? For years. I have been putting in the work. I have been winning these races. I have been doing everything that I could do. And they put her, the first place winner of the 400 meters, they chose her to be Player of the Week. And so all I could think about was, that was supposed to be me. That was supposed to be me. I could not even think to congratulate her. Mind you, I knew this girl. I knew her personally. I knew her family. And me and her was actually cool. We was rivals, but we was actually cool. Like this girl was like a friend of mine, and I could not even be happy about her accomplishment because I know that if I had have been there, it was favor ain't fair. Not like, the wisdom of an older woman now. The favor is not fair. But at that time, I was sick. I was so sick. When I got home, actually my dad, I'm sorry. They gave me back my keys that next week. So spring break, I didn't have a car. The next week, they gave me back my keys so I can start taking myself back and forth to school. I get home and now I'm pissed. Like, I don't know what to do with my emotions at this point. I am so upset. And so my mother gets home and I just had the paper out just so she can see it. And she's like, oh, look, she got Player of the Week. And all of a sudden, this rush of anger takes over me. And I've turned into a monster now. And I said, that was supposed to be me. And she said, it would have been you if it was supposed to be you. And that took me to another level of anger. And I said, don't talk to me. Just don't talk to me. So now my tone has gotten disrespectful yet again with my mother, and I'm pushing her to the limit. I haven't given y'all the weeks and weeks before where I have been pushing her and just saying little slick stuff, and she's been letting it go or checking me a little bit and letting go, checking me and look. At this point, I have been pushing her buttons. And I don't know what kind of day she had, but I could tell that she wasn't trying to bring it home, but I was just compounding on to what she was dealing with in the first place. So she was like, what'd you say to me? And I was like, don't say nothing else to me. Don't talk to me. This is your fault. And she's like, who are you talking to like that? Who are you talking to like that? I said, I'm talking to you. I am talking to you. I missed Player of the Week because you did not take me to practice. And she was like, that's why you didn't get player of the week? I was like, just leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. She was like, oh, what you gonna do? And so I turned like, leave me alone. Don't touch me. Don't talk to me. And she was like, what? Wait, no, wait. She's looking around. My little sister is in the kitchen. And she's like, Dewana, what are you Dewana, just let it go. Mom, it's okay. Just let it go. So she sees that my mom is starting to she bouncing like we about to tussle or whatever. So I'm like, no, just leave me alone. Don't say nothing to me. I'm still popping off. I'm still popping off like one of them. I'm still popping off. So she's like, Dewana. And I was like, mother, like mocking her. And she, all of a sudden, this little lady, she kicks her shoes off. My mother is 5 feet tall, just making 5 feet tall. She turns to me. I'm taller than her at this point. I'm like 5'2". I'm not that much taller than her, but I am taller than her. And I'm like trying to swell up over her. She turns, she puts her arm right here up on me, and she pushes me into the wall, and then she drags me up the wall with her arm. I can't breathe. My feet are dangling, and I'm like, how did I get here? She's like, now what? Now what? And I was like, put me down, because I'm not in that mode yet to like back down. And I was like, put me down. Oh, what? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And her arm just kept getting tighter and tighter. I'm like, put me down. So my sister, she's over there screaming like, Dewana, just shut up. Mom, put her down. And so I'm like, now I'm like, am I losing consciousness? So she just keeps getting tighter. It just keeps getting tighter. And I'm like, okay, all right. I was like, I'm sorry. I have to apologize so I can keep my life, okay? So I'm like, I'm sorry. She was like, you better not talk to me ever like that again. Don't talk to me like that. I put this roof over your head. She's like, don't talk to me ever like that again. I put this roof over your head. I do all of that. I bought you that car. I bought you that car so you would have a way to get around. I was not the problem. That you were the problem. I did not stop you from getting to that practice. You did. You and your mouth. Get out of my face. And she's like hollering, get out of my face. So I'm like, gladly. And I just run out the stairs. So I run up the stairs and I'm like, okay, what had just happened? I feel like I'm like checking for bruises in my mirror, like, what had just happened? What just happened? I cannot believe it. I was crying and everything. I was crying. But in that moment, I knew, like, I'm not testing my mom like that ever again. Like, yo, I'm not ever going to test her like that again. Like, I was humbled in that very moment. Like, I was losing it. I was losing myself. I was losing respect. I mean, not respect for my parents, but just, like, starting not to, I was taking them for granted. I was looking at them more as, like, they were there to do for me, as opposed to, like, you know, be protectors or, you know, I just thought they had to do what they were doing for me. They were supposed to buy me a car. They were supposed to make sure I had clothes. They were supposed to make sure I had, like, really good dinners and stuff like that, and make sure I had money in my pocket. Like, I did not know a lot of the things that they were doing for me was not not regular for other kids. So in that moment, though, I realized that I was actually blessed, and I had an opportunity to just calm down, and I went to sleep, and I was awakened in the middle of the night, and it was my mother, and I was like, oh God, she's back to she's back to try to kill me. And actually, I had missed dinner because of this event, and she had brought me a plate, and she said, I need you to understand that I love you. And I said, I love you too, Mom. And at this time, I was just in tears. And I just told her, like, you know, I missed my meet. I missed the opportunity to get Player of the Week. I'm so mad about it. And she said, but you can only be mad at yourself because you are the reason your keys got taken away. She said, if I needed to use your car, I would have made sure that you got to practice. But you are the reason that you did not make it. And so you have to suffer those consequences. And you cannot be mad at anybody but yourself. And I was like, you're right. You're right. So we made up or whatever. But after that, you know, I'm going to always tell you guys what I learned from these situations. One thing that I learned is I started to respect my mom on a whole nother level. My mom is a natural born leader, and she had to flex on me and everyone watching, including my sister. She's going to correct you by whatever method that the situation calls for. And this particular situation, it called for force. She needed to pin me up against the wall to make sure that I knew that she was not that one to disrespect. And she needed me to understand that if I did try to fight her, that I would probably lose. So that was that. But the other thing that I learned that was really, really important, that stays with me to this day, is to take accountability for my actions. I was the reason that I did not eventually get Player of the Week. I put myself in a situation where I lost my transportation and was unable to fulfill my obligations for that next week. And because of that, it started a ripple effect. I think that a lot of times people like to blame people for what happens in their life, and it's not their fault. Like, you messed up, and so you get mad at other people for not helping you because you messed up. Like, you can't get mad at people when they are not going to be available for you because you waited to the last minute, or you got locked up, or you missed a deadline, or whatever. You can't be mad at people for that, for whatever reasons that they don't want to help you now. It's not their job to bail you out of bad situations. It's your job to do that. And I would just encourage you to, if you are in that situation right now, like, just take accountability, apologize for what you've done, and hope that God has mercy on you so that, you know, you can get some help and get out of that situation. But first you have to take accountability for it. So that was what I experienced with my mom. And I can tell you, to this day, we've never, ever, ever had a situation like that. I am in my 30s and I have never fixed my mouth to disrespect my mom the way that I did that day. Back when I was 16 years old. I've never, like, I'm a grown woman with my own family. I take care of myself. She doesn't take care of me at all. But I will never, ever, ever think that it's okay to talk to my mom any kind of way. I'm just not going to do it. But anyway, that is the end of my story. And thank you so very much for logging on to Blue Shrimp Moscato. I am D-Fitz the designer. Make sure you check out my website, www.dfitzthedesigner.com. And remember, Jesus loves you and I do too. I'm gonna see about putting this back on.